Hey there, and welcome to another Marvel Snap guide. This time featuring a Pool 2 deck, and it's actually a really cool deck that I use to hit Infinite on the first day of the season, of the April season. So I'm really excited. It was a lot of fun to play Pool 2 with this deck, and I'm actually super excited to showcase this deck because this 2 locations deck was actually really similar to a deck I was playing in Pool 1. This is my Onslaught Pool 1 deck, and the only difference here is that instead of Namor, we're going to upgrade to a new powerhouse in the form of, where is it right here? Warpath. And Warpath is the only Pool 2 card in this entire deck, which is really cool. If you pull him early like I did, you're going to have a incredibly strong deck. The rest are all Pool 1 cards, so it's really easy to build. Let's go over through the deck and just kind of talk about, how to play it, because it is a little bit different, especially if you're used to the Zoo style of Pool 1, which again, it still works in Pool 2, but I think that Pool 2 is a little bit different. You're going to start to see a little bit more just stronger cards coming out, more complex combos, and I think just playing for value, competing for all 3 turns, or all 3 lanes, isn't quite as strong anymore, and I found a lot of success, honestly, just trying to build my deck in such a way that I can dominate 2 positions, and while the opponent's still fighting for 3, I've just won 2 and there's nothing they can do about it. Let's go through the cards here. Again, it's called 2 locations because of our big hero here, Warpath. If any of your locations are empty, plus 4 power, that makes him a 4 mana, 9 power, which, I mean, that's crazy. He is just winning a lane for you all on his own. That's why I really love this card. I was really happy to get him. Now, the problem is, if we have 1 empty location, we got to be able to win the other 2, right? And that's kind of how this deck works. You're gonna have a strong lane, which is gonna be, your Warpath. You're gonna have a weak lane, which is going to be, whatever else you can kind of put in there. And then you're going to have an empty lane, and that empty lane is going to basically be doing nothing. However, the deck can get a little interesting. So let's kind of go through our cards, right? We got our weak lane cards, and that's our Ant-Man, right? He's really easy to play. Easy 1 mana card. The ongoing effect is really strong here because we are going to be running things like Spectrum, which we'll get into a little later on. But he can get a lot of power just because he's ongoing. We want to see ongoing cards. And we can actually play him in a lane with 3 other cards. Now we got our Nightcrawler. I really like Nightcrawler. He still kind of manages to survive here in Pool 2. The ability to move lets you play him safely turn 1. And then move him to another location. And actually, one of the really cool interactions that I've been starting to play around with is Warpath. When he gets his +4 power, he's actually susceptible right away to like a Shang-Chi. If you don't know what Shang-Chi is, he's a new card in Pool 2 that lets you destroy a card that has 9 or more power. You can actually use Nightcrawler and then move him later on to bring your Warpath up to speed, and that keeps him safe. Now we got a couple other cards, right? These are our Armor and Colossus. Again, these are both ongoing cards. The thing that's really strong about these is that these are like your weak lane cards that are going to help protect you. Also, Armor and Cosmo are your defense cards. Armor, no cards can be destroyed here. Cosmo, no on-reveal abilities can happen at this location. So what you're going to be able to do is use Armor to defend your weak lane. So things like Ant-Man and Nightcrawler are going to be defended. And Cosmo is going to defend your strong lane. And that's going to defend it from things like Enchantress, who is a really popular card. You see a ton of her because, she counters things like Dinosaur. So Cosmo stops any on-reveal effects. So it's going to stop any Shang-Chi's. It's going to stop any Enchantresses, and then Armor is going to protect your 1 mana cards from things like Elektra and Killmonger, which again, Killmonger is another Pool 2 card that you see a ton of play here. So he's a really great card. You're good. These are just your 2 good defense cards. Now, filling out our slot, we just got a couple more ongoing cards. Helping out that weak position is our Lizard. Again, he's a good ongoing card. He's going to force a lot of cards to be played there to counter his effect, and if they don't, I mean, it's 5 power. It's really damn strong on its own. Now we got Mr. Fantastic, Captain America. Mr. Fantastic, Captain America, and Cosmo are essentially your kind of like your turn 3 plays in your strong lane, because your strong lane, ideally you want to be playing turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, and turn 6, dumping all 4 turns into that strong lane. First 2 turns, you're setting up your weak lane. You're going 3, 4, 5, 6, setting up your strong lane. And kind of the general patterns, you're going to play a 3 cost, let's say Cosmo. Then you're going to play your Warpath on turn 4. You're going to play your Claw, and this is the really awesome part about Claw, is that he's going to give the location to the right plus 6 power. Now that's really awesome, because if we make sure that our strong one is set up properly, so we never want our strong to be all the way on the right, but if we can set up our strong to be in the middle or on the left, then we can either buff into our empty lane and start to actually win our empty lane with no cards in there at all, or we can buff into our weak lane, and then this plus 6 power with like an Ant-Man and an armor, or maybe a Nightcrawler and a Lizard, so that's 7 plus. You're actually getting enough power in your weak lane to contest for that, and they might not even realize how much power you can add there, because your turn 6 plays are going to be absolutely just adding a ton of points, just dumping a ton of stats onto the rest of your board. That's what Spectrum gives all your ongoing cards plus 2 power. We just got to be a little careful, because she is on reveal. So on reveal and Cosmo, you can't play them in the same lane. We got to be a little careful about that. Otherwise, we got our big dick guy in this deck, our Onslaught, who's going to double all the other ongoing effects at this location, which is going to include our Warpath. It's going to include our Claw. Going to include our Captain America or our Mr. Fantastic. Onslaught, you play him on 6, and he just absolutely slams that lane. Not to mention, I mean, he has 7 power on his own, which is, I mean, it's pretty damn incredible. It's really, really hard if you play Warpath and Onslaught in the same lane. Very, very hard to contest. So, that's pretty much the entire deck. Again, the idea is we have a strong lane, a weak lane, and an empty lane. And just to go into a little bit about cube strategy, this is a deck that I think when all the things kind of line up, you can very much see you can kind of see how the rest of the game is going to be played out, and it's totally okay to snap early, play for those big 8-game things, and just you'll see so many people retreating because they know that they can't even compete with the rest of your board. So you want to snap early to make the game at least 2 or 4. That way, even if they retreat, you're still winning a lot of cubes. Let's talk a little about strengths and weaknesses of this deck. Definitely one of the biggest strengths of the deck is going to be the fact that it is really damn easy to make. I mean, these are all pool 1 cards except for Warpath. Again, if you don't have Warpath but you want to play this, you can play the pool 1 version with Namor instead, and basically instead of 2 locations, you just have Namor solo winning a location, and then you're kind of buffing into him. But I really think Warpath just takes this deck to another level. So if you have Warpath, give this deck a try. I guarantee you're going to get results really damn quickly. Other strengths of this deck, I think, is that it's really, really simple to just pick 2 locations. It's not that complicated once you get a feel for it. You'll just kind of have to understand, okay, this location I'm going hard on, this location I'm going weak in. And if it's obvious you're not going to win it, something weird kind of happens, or, you get really unlucky with locations, then, you just retreat and it's over. Now, the one weakness of this deck, I think, is the fact that, you have your really strong defense cards. You have Armor and Cosmo. But, man, with so many ongoing cards, you really are susceptible to Enchantress. You're really susceptible to things like Shang-Chi, who can fuck your Warpath. You can even mess with things like a buffed. He can mess with Warpath mainly, which is I've lost games like that. And then other things like Killmonger can actually lose you the game if they catch an Ant-Man or a Nightcrawler that are trying to win. And then the other kind of weakness is that when things don't go according to plan and you don't want to win with Onslaught, you want to win with Spectrum, or especially if things are kind of insane and you need to play for all 3 locations. There isn't really a solid game plan, and it's going to come up to a lot of creativity, a lot of kind of thinking on your part to try to win the game without like sort of the general 3, 4, 5, 6 game plan. So we're going to get into a couple games here, basically just trying to demonstrate different ways to win, as well as hopefully show one game with the more linear game plan of 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a bit of a harder game plan where you're going to have to think about things a little bit more and just try to win with like a big Spectrum board. Typically, though, the idea is you can either win big with Onslaught or you win wide with Spectrum. So looking right here, right? What do we have? We have 2, 3, 4, and 6. This is really awesome. I'm telling you, this is gonna seem absolutely crazy. But we have our 3 play, we have our 4 play, and we have our 6 play. So I'm actually okay to go ahead and snap this one because I'm so damn confident that I can win this game. All we're really looking for right now is a claw. We have protection in here. We have protection here with Cosmo, and we're set up. Like we're set up to win. It really is crazy that you can win a game this fast. But that's just how things are gonna go. And then we're gonna play armor here. We might hit the eternity range, which is going to be a little weird. We actually really don't wanna. We really don't want to lose eternity range. That would be really bad. But I think we're actually gonna do instead here is we're gonna play armor here, and we're just gonna see what happens. If he fights for eternity range, that's okay. Not the end of the world. What I really want to be careful of doing, though, is putting too many cards in here, because I don't want to dump the rest of my hand. Now, this is really interesting, because now we have Onslaught at 5 mana, which is crazy. I mean, that's absolutely insane. But what we can do is, we can actually go really crazy here. Play Cosmo for the defense on Warpath. It's going to protect us from Shang-Chi. It's going to protect us from Enchantresses, too. If we lose this, that's okay. Not the end of the world. This isn't even that bad. We deny him the discard in case he's playing something like an Apocalypse. And now, let's go ahead and, play our hand out. We've got our Warpath. We're going to do some crazy things here. Actually, I'm trying to think if maybe there's a way we can win this in a little bit of a trickier way. The idea here is... that I think if we're going to Onslaught and Warpath, we're missing a little bit of power here with Claw. We don't really have a reach here with Claw. So instead, what I think I'm going to try to do is look for kind of like an alternate way to win this using... We're going to basically hope for a Spectrum play. Now, we can't play Spectrum here, right? That's the important thing. Can't play Spectrum here. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and Warpath. Let's actually Warpath here. I'll kind of show, like, the way this goes. The only thing we would be missing here is this kind of rock is messing us up. But again, it's no big deal. So he's starting to develop his Apocalypse. I'm definitely a little bit worried if he, makes it happen. But I think I'm pretty confident now where I can go ahead and play the Onslaught. Damn, this is so tricky because it really is hard. But I think we're going to just play the Onslaught here. Hopefully he plays Apocalypse. If he plays Apocalypse here, we're actually in really good shape. If he doesn't, then it's going to be a little tough. But I still think it's probably winnable. Wow, he's actually going to play... That's actually great for us. He plays that there, and that's fine. Now we're in, like, an excellent shape. So now the only thing we need to do is we need to figure out how to win this guy, right? We don't have our Spectrum. This is never losing. Now the only thing we need to do is get as much power set up here. He has 4 cards. Okay, let's see what we can do. Well, we want to play Captain America. Ant-Man and Colossus is going to give us the most power. Captain America is going to buff everything. Ant-Man's going to get the extra power. And our armor's kind of defending us here. So we're down 3, but we are getting a lot of power here, so I'm okay with playing this out and seeing how it goes. Not really a perfect game here. This one's a little bit weird. And he's actually just going to throw away the game. Not quite sure what he's doing there by playing for that one. But he's going to go ahead and give us the game. And we can just play everything here and go ahead and win. And you can see we're just developing so much power here. Obviously, this one's a little bit weird because we got our Titan, which is not really something you're going to typically get. But this is kind of the idea of Cosmo, Warpath, Onslaught, and then in your other one, you're playing your weak cards to get that set up. The only thing I would have changed here on a regular game is if we didn't have the Onslaught early, or in fact, if we, maybe we did have that Onslaught there, but I would have played the Claw in the middle. The Claw would have given the 6 power, and then the Onslaught would have just buffed that again. So we would have kind of gotten the same effect, but obviously that rock just kind of messed us up there. And you can see, I think the real cool part about this deck is the power of playing your defense cards. So things like Cosmo and things like Armor are just going to really help defend the rest of your lanes from getting destroyed by things like Enchantress and Shang-Chi. You just can't play anything. You can't play anything in these decks. So again, turn 1. This one's kind of hard because it shuffle rocks into our deck, so we have a bunch of stuff. But it's not that bad. We can go ahead and play our Nightcrawler here. and see what happens. We basically have 2 of our win conditions here. And in fact, the fact that it's a limbo makes this really, really good for us, and we can go ahead and play with limbo, because limbo is really cool because it's going to let us play both of our win conditions, so we're going to get a ton of points. We're going to go ahead and play lizard here. The reason why we play lizard there is because... tricky. I actually want to play lizard here. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and risk it, play lizard there, set it up in the far lane, and hope that there's nothing bad. If it is bad, it kind of sucks for us, but... you know, and there it is. Kind of sucks for us, but we can still win this game. I know we can still win this game. We're just gonna have to be a little smart with how we win it. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and set our limbo here, and we're gonna play our Nightcrawler there. Reason why we're gonna do this is because we want to defend our Nightcrawler. We don't want our Nightcrawler to die. This was a tricky game, but I want to see if we can possibly do this, even with being this far down. I think it might still be possible. Beautiful. So we have our Captain America now, and in fact, turn 5, we have our we want to actually play this because it's going to get 1 power. Now it sounds really dumb. It really does sound stupid, but hear me out. We are going to be able to. We are going to figure this one out. You see here, he's developing a lot of power.
Assemble.
That's fine. It's a little scary, but we can still win this. We just need a really, really good drop here. And I think this is totally fine. We'll go ahead and get this one. It's Mr. Fantastic here. I think we'll actually... oh man, it's so tricky. It is really, really tricky because I don't know if to play Mr. Fantastic here or there. This one's... it's so hard. It's so tricky. The problem that I'm having with this is I want to be playing Onslaught here to buff with Captain America. I want to be playing Spectrum here. I'm just not sure where I want this Mr. Fantastic. But I think he's going to go here because we want to be able to fight for this. And we want Onslaught here should win us. Okay, I'm going to buff that. Pretty scary again. We're still in a really scary position, but I do think that this is still possible. Still possible. It's just gonna be really damn hard. And oh man, I am kind of scared because I don't quite know if we can win this one yet. But I think there is a really cool play we can make here. He plays the rock there. That's fine. Really not a problem. Now, the real hard part is how do we beat this deck? How do we beat this? This is going to represent a lot of power. He's going to play the one in the hand. This is going to go up to 10. Let's see. This is going to be 10, 15. This is going to get 8, so it's going to be 23. And this is what, at 6? So 23. We're looking at basically 29 power in this one. This is at 29 power. Can we beat 29 power? That's kind of the crazy question here. Well, we add 5 here. It's going to give us 2. If we add this, it's not going to be enough. So even though, again, this is just one of those weird games where I think we're just going to have to go ahead and concede it. Unfortunately, this bar with no name kind of just ruined us here. So we just don't have the ability to play with bar with no name kind of screwing us here. So yeah, we'll go ahead and escape. Kind of sucks to see it like that, but you know what? That's just how it goes sometimes. And honestly, it was pretty close too. I think there was a couple ways we could have won. Hopefully we can get one more game that's just regular, standard, nothing weird happening, no Titan, no bar with no name, no turn 7. I just want like a nice, normal game to play this deck out and basically just showcase the general 3, 4, 5, 6 pattern. Which is how you win like 80% of the games with this deck. It's really, I feel like it's something like 80% of the games you're going to win with a typical 3, 4, 5 into Onslaught, and then the other cards you're going to win with like weird Spectrum stuff. So this is actually totally perfect. This is actually exactly what we see. We have our 4, we have our 5, we have our 6. Lizard is our weak card, so what we can do, go ahead and snap it. Why not? We're in good shape. No reason to like mess around with everything. We have 4, 5, 6 that wins us a lane on its own. Obviously, we could use like a Cosmo or something. But yeah, we're totally fine here. Let's see what we get here. On turn 5, all cards must be played here. So because all cards must be played here, our Claw, our turn 5 play is going to want to go there. Because Claws are strong with 4, 5, 6, and we're actually going to play Lizard here and just basically see how it goes. Sucks to see, right? We could have played Scarlet Witch to try to, but you know, Lizard I think is just stronger. He's gonna force them to either play stuff there or lose this thing. So unless we get something really, really unlucky, I think we're actually totally fine here. So let's see what we get, and that's actually an insanely good card for us. So we're in great shape. Now let's see what we can do. We can try to play for we can try to play a little bit more aggressively for this one by playing Captain America. Or what we could really try to do is just go very, very hard on Avengers Compound. And I think what we're going to do is just go very hard on Avengers Compound because we have to overcome the Baxter building. And he's probably going to be playing for Baxter building, so our goal is to play for Avenger and Clintar. Remember, most important part about this deck, identify what your 2 locations that you're playing hard for. Identify what your strong one is. In this case, strong is Avengers. Identify what your weak is. In this case, it's going to be Clintar. And identify what your empty one is. And in this case, empty is going to be Baxter. All right, so let's go. Let's see what we can do. We're going to go ahead and play our Warpath here. It's going to be, it's going to be freaking awesome. We're going to get a ton of power. Even if he dumps everything here and creates a really, really huge thing, I think we're actually, we're still totally fine. We're just, I think we're still fine. We can still overcome. Even if he moves everything here, I think we're still okay. Yeah, and this is excellent. I was worried that he might move everything here because the one weak part about this deck is you have to win. I mean, you have to win 2 locations, right? It's easy to win the strong location when you have cards like Captain America and Warpath, but it can sometimes be a little difficult to win the weak locations if you don't have, you know, if you don't have as strong of a setup. It can be a little difficult. Now here we go. Look at this. We're winning by 5 points here. We're winning by 4 points here. And we're just going to drop Onslaught. We did our 3, 4, 5, 6. Sucks that Baxter is empty, but honestly, who cares? This is winning by a lot. This thing is going to become like 30 power now. And this, it's going to become 17, so he's have to overcome 10. I feel pretty confident. He's gonna need basically like a Hulk on the board or something like that, or some kind of like Bucky Barnes play. So I'm pretty confident with this. I think I can go ahead and just play it out. He needs to develop a ton of power here, and he's probably not even expecting, you know, another 6 coming out here. So I feel like we're in excellent condition. Probably expecting to see something like a Heimdall, which is just not enough to win. Yeah, any Onslaught's there, good for him. Look at that, we win our 2, we're done. And that's pretty much it. This is how you just scoop up. You see I'm winning cubes. Oftentimes 4 or even 8 cube wins. It's really damn easy, and the amount of power that you're getting playing your standard kind of setup here with 3, 4, 5, 6. It's almost impossible to beat a lane like this. So again, give this deck a try, see how it goes for you. It's been an excellent deck for me, and again, I climbed this deck in April in like the first like 12 hours of the season. I didn't play for all 12 hours of that, but I was infinite in like literally by day 2. So it's a really great deck for pool 2, so give it a try. It's going to win you a lot of games, and it doesn't really require that many new cards. So, you know, it can be pretty easy to make as long as you hit that Warpath. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. In my next video, I'm probably going to showcase the deck that actually got me to 147 Infinite, which is really awesome. So go ahead and, wait for that. That'll be coming out soon as well. Thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next video.